When someone is seen as perfect, any small mistake becomes magnified. Haters often wait for opportunities to find flaws, to prove that the idea of perfection is fake. In Jungkook's case, the more people praise his talents and looks, the more others feel compelled to challenge or attack it. The logic here is simple. The higher the pedestal, the more people want to knock it down. Perfection is intimidating. People are not always comfortable with someone who seems flawless, because it creates a feeling of comparison. Fans may admire him, but haters often feel insecure when comparing themselves to him. This perception that Jungkook is too perfect ironically becomes one of the strongest reasons why negativity surrounds him. Behind much of the hate is pure jealousy. Jungkook's success at a young age is not common. Debuting at just 15, he grew up in the spotlight, and the world witnessed his transformation into a global superstar. By his mid-22s, Jungkook had already achieved what many artists spend decades trying to reach: sold-out stadiums, Billboard records, Grammy nominations, and international brand ambassadorships with names like Calvin Klein. For those who are struggling in their own lives, Jungkook's success can serve as a painful reminder of what they haven't achieved. Instead of being inspired, some individuals project their insecurities onto him. Social media amplifies this effect. People can hide behind anonymity while expressing their jealousy through hate comments, criticism, or spreading rumors. It's not just ordinary individuals who feel this way. Even within the entertainment industry, rival artists and fandoms may see Jungkook as a threat. His ability to dominate charts, trends, and headlines makes him a target. Hating him becomes a way to cope with the uncomfortable truth of his success. Another reason why hate builds around Jungkook is overexposure. As a global icon, his face is everywhere: billboards, advertisements, social media feeds, streaming platforms, and news articles. For fans, this is exciting, but for others, it can become overwhelming. Constant exposure to the same person, especially when that person is being praised repeatedly, creates fatigue. This phenomenon is not unique to Jungkook. Many global stars, from Michael Jackson to Justin Bieber, have faced backlash because their constant presence made people tired of hearing about them. In Jungkook's case, the media obsession with his looks, talent, and influence contributes to the perception that he is everywhere, which fuels annoyance and, eventually, hate. K-pop is built on strong fandom culture, but fandoms often clash. Because Jungkook is one of the most popular members of BTS, he becomes the central figure in many rivalries. Fans of other groups may target him because he represents the peak of success they want their idols to achieve. Within BTS's own fandom, ARMY, there are also conflicts where solo stans sometimes attack him because they feel their own favorite member is being overshadowed. These rivalries are not about Jungkook as a person, but rather about what he represents. He embodies dominance in K-pop, and in such a competitive industry, the dominance naturally attracts attacks from all sides. Jungkook is often judged harshly for things that would be considered normal for anyone else. For example, when he goes out with friends, changes his hairstyle, or posts casually on social media, even the smallest actions are magnified into controversies. His tattoos, piercings, or fashion choices have sparked debates online, with haters using them as reasons to criticize him. This level of scrutiny happens because of the pedestal he is placed on. People expect him to be perfect at all times, forgetting that he is still human. When he shows his humanity through ordinary choices, haters seize the opportunity to exaggerate those moments into flaws. For many, Jungkook represents not only a successful idol, but also the future of global pop culture. His crossover into Western markets, His English language songs, his brand deals, and his ability to trend worldwide show that he is not just a Korean superstar, but a global phenomenon. This kind of dominance creates fear among those who worry that he will overshadow their own favorites or shift the balance of influence in the entertainment industry. The hate he receives is often rooted in this fear that Jungkook is becoming unstoppable, fear that he will rewrite industry standards, and fear that he truly is too perfect for anyone else to compete with. So, is Jungkook hated because he is too perfect? The answer leans toward yes. People are drawn to imperfection because it makes them feel connected. When someone appears too perfect, it creates distance. Jungkook, despite being human, is often framed as flawless, which makes it difficult for some to relate to him. Instead of admiration, it can breed resentment. This resentment is not necessarily about him personally, it's about the image of perfection he represents. In many ways, he becomes a mirror reflecting what others wish they had but don't. That reflection is uncomfortable, and hate becomes the easiest outlet. Haters often project their own frustrations onto celebrities. Jungkook, being constantly visible, becomes a convenient target. If someone feels stuck in their job, relationship, or life path, seeing Jungkook's seemingly perfect career can ignite anger. They project their dissatisfaction onto him, turning him into a symbol of everything they lack. This projection explains why hate comments toward Jungkook are often emotional and irrational. They are not really about him as a person, but about the insecurities of those writing them. His tattoos, his friendships, his choices, none of these actions justify hate logically. Yet they become excuses for projection because critics are really fighting their own internal battles. Another root of hate comes from the tension between Jungkook's idol image and his real self. As a K-pop idol, he is expected to maintain an image of politeness, purity, and perfection. However, as a human being in his 20 seconds, Jungkook naturally wants freedom, individuality, and authenticity. When he shows his real side through fashion, tattoos, nightlife, or candid expressions, critics see it as him breaking the idol image. Instead of understanding this as growth, some people frame it as rebellion or arrogance. The disconnection between expectations and reality creates disappointment, which often transforms into criticism or hate. In South Korea, cultural conservatism plays a major role. Tattoos, piercings, and certain lifestyle choices are still frowned upon by older generations. Jungkook, being one of the most visible young stars, naturally becomes a target when he chooses self-expression that does not align with conservative expectations. For example, his tattoos have repeatedly made headlines, with critics claiming they are inappropriate for a role model. Yet, in Western culture, tattoos are widely accepted. This cultural clash means Jungkook is constantly at the center of debates about modern youth expression versus traditional values. Many of the hate comments come from this generational gap. Jungkook's success creates a feeling of being unreachable. He is admired by millions, partnered with billion-dollar brands, and consistently breaking records. For ordinary people, this gap feels impossible to close. Instead of being motivated, some people react negatively, convincing themselves that his success must be undeserved. This leads to narratives like, "He's overrated," "He got lucky," "It's just hype." These are not factual statements but emotional defenses. People who feel they cannot reach his level of achievement invent reasons to devalue it. Hating him becomes a way to restore balance in their own minds. Hate is louder today because of social media. Platforms like Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram allow anonymous accounts to spread negativity without consequences. Algorithms reward engagement, whether positive or negative, so hateful content about Jungkook often spreads quickly. This creates a cycle. Someone posts hate. Others argue back. The post gains traction because of the debate. More people see it, and the hate grows. Jungkook is not unique in facing this, but his global popularity makes him one of the biggest targets. With every comeback, endorsement, or public appearance, hate resurfaces and spreads faster than ever. While fandom wars inside K-pop are one thing, Jungkook also faces criticism from outside the genre. His growing influence in Western markets threatens existing pop stars. For fans of those artists, Jungkook's dominance feels like an invasion. This leads to resistance in the form of criticism and dismissive comments. For example, when Jungkook's solo songs chart alongside Western artists, debates erupt about whether he deserves to be there. Instead of celebrating diversity, some fans see it as a competition. The result? Hating him becomes a defense of their own favorite artist. Although BTS is a group, Jungkook is often treated as its most visible face. Brands, media outlets, and casual listeners sometimes highlight him more than others. While this boosts his fame, it also increases the pressure on him. Critics attack him not only for his own actions, but for everything BTS represents. Whenever the group is criticized for issues like Western validation, fandom behavior, or industry influence, Jungkook receives an outsized share of the blame. Being the face of BTS makes him both the most loved and the most hated member. Unlike Hollywood stars who often remain distant, Jungkook interacts directly with fans through live streams, Weverse posts, and personal updates. This closeness is part of K-pop's charm, but it also invites negativity. When someone feels close to a celebrity, they also feel entitled to judge, criticize, or police their behavior. Because Jungkook shares so much of his life, haters feel they know him well enough to attack him. They comment on his choices as if they have authority. Ironically, the same accessibility that makes him loved also makes him hated. Finally, the hate Jungkook receives is proof of his impact. Nobody hates someone irrelevant. The intensity of the negativity mirrors the intensity of his influence. For every hater, there are millions of fans supporting him. The fact that he sparks such strong reactions shows that he matters, that he dominates cultural conversations in ways few artists ever do. In some ways, hate is simply the shadow of greatness. It cannot exist without light. The louder the hate, the more it proves that Jungkook's presence is powerful enough to disrupt comfort zones and force people to react.